So, Greg, I know Ronatec has moved a little further into the general metal finishing product lines. Let's talk about, first of all, what you all had been doing, and then why you're getting more into the general metal finishing line.
We have always been in the GMF side, but it hadn't been a priority for us. The electrical nickel side and the equipment side had been the areas of primary focus. After I came on board, I brought a lot of clients along that trail with me, and quite frankly, it was the clients themselves that said, "Hey, look, we're already doing business with you here or there. Why can't you offer us a broader product line?" So we morphed into product lines one at a time, get them up and running and stable. And so they have gone from zinc additives to phosphates to cleaners, uh, anodized line products, pretty much a full line.
Right, right. Give a little bit of background on yourself. You mentioned that you brought some customers over when you joined Ronatec. How long have you been with Ronatec, and what's your experience in the finishing industry with that?
Well, I have been in the metal finishing industry for 47 years.
Wow, newcomer. There you go.
Yeah, in various capacities. I started my tenure way back in the 70s with LIT Light, and
Sure.
moved through a couple of different companies until here I am now with Ronatec. I've been with them since, I guess 2017.
hmm Gotcha. Great. Yeah. So yeah, long time. I'm sure you've seen the kind of the spectrum of how it was done back in the day and all the kind of the newfangled things that are going on today with that. Um, so let me ask you, like I said, real quick about what are some of those additional offerings? Like I said, and again, most people may think of Ronatec as a local, California distributor, but like I said, you all are from coast to coast. What are some of the offerings that you have kind of expanded into that Ronatec has?
Well, there's in product lines primarily, or
Yeah, and some of the product lines. Yeah. Yeah.
well, one of the bigger ones, somewhat recently, has been the phosphate or pretreatment primer and paint. That has been a big, big market for us. And we ended up offering a full line from iron phosphates to zinc phosphates of various types, manganese, and some of the inorganic
hmm
type compounds, zirconium type compounds. That has
Right.
turned out to be a magnificent market, something that we really hadn't expected to open up for us like it has. And I frankly see a lot of future in that area. Uh,
Right.
then the other area that I've really started to concentrate in is anodizing. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, that has been a market for us that we've left somewhat untapped until recently. So those are kind of our two primary push points. But along with that, we do offer the full line. Again, as I mentioned earlier, zinc additives, passivates, bright nickel additives. Bright nickel used to be my specialty at one time, uh, but we all know what happened to bumpers and other bright nickel products. They've kind of gone by the way, so kind of moved my emphasis into these other areas.
Right. Let me ask you about powder coating because you don't often find powder coating in metal finishing operations per se, right? A few do have it as offering it. So is this really let you all get into some facilities maybe you haven't been in before that maybe are just doing powder coating or maybe even some captive shops that are doing powder coating? How's that work for you all getting in the door with it?
It has opened a lot of doors, especially with captive shops and even with independent powder coat shops. Uh, I have probably one of our biggest is in little bitty Fort Smith, Arkansas,
Hmm.
and they're strictly powder coat. And getting this direction has opened up those doors in that type of application, which in turn has then opened the door for the captive shop.
Hmm.
Again, as I mentioned earlier, it's been a great market for us, and I think it'll continue to grow for us.
Right. Do you feel that a lot of powder coaters are really aware of their pretreatment options? I know some shops I've been in, there's not a very big sophistication to their pretreatment unless they're required to do it, right? Unless they're really and they want to get bigger work and more, better margins, and really getting into maybe a 3-stage or a 5-stage. Have you found that really they have been looking for more of this type of product than they had maybe in the past?
They have for a couple of reasons. One is a lot of the vendors out there basically say, "Hey, here's what I got," and that's the end of it. Walk away.
Right.
We approach it from a different angle. We're not trying to sell you something. We're trying to solve a problem for you. And by the way, the product happens to go along with it. And
Hmm.
that's somewhat of a unique approach, at least in the powder coat industry. Uh, they're not used to seeing someone on a regular basis. They're not used to seeing someone who actually has some alternative answers to some of the challenges that they find.
Right. Right. I would say technical skills, right? Because a lot of them, like you said, they're just getting some things that here's what I've got, you can use this until they dig a little deeper and find out that there's some really good products out there that they should be incorporating into their pre-treatment, because that's what it's all about. There's not going to be very good adhesion if they're not really treating that metal properly. Right.
That's true. And again, I'm a little surprised that there isn't more of this information out there
Hmm.
than there is. So again, that opens doors for us because we are bringing this newer technology and additional information on how to actually successfully clean and treat a product.
Right. Right. Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about anodizing for a second. I know you all have really gotten into building lines, right? Physically building the systems and everything. What came first? Was it the building the lines with anodizing? Was it some of the products that go in that you would sell to anodizers? How did that all come about?
It was actually, I guess, started with the equipment side in building the lines and a lot of the automation, retrofitting, that sort of thing. And then client would say, "Hey, look, I'm dealing with XYZ, and I'm not really that happy. Do you have someone you can recommend?" Well, yeah, sure, we can recommend ourselves. And, so that kind of started it, and little by little, primarily in such things as cleaners and etchants, and then as we became more comfortable in the industry and had more requests, we moved into uh, the balance of the line, whether it goes all the way down to sealants and
Right.
dyes and other chemistries.
Right. Yeah. I see that a lot where, a lot of facilities, they really want to have a turnkey source, right? But they want to deal with a little bit less suppliers. They want somebody that really kind of knows how to build the line and also how to set it up and get it running, get it tuned in, right? I mean, they don't want a lot of finger pointing and coordination. They want somebody that can just kind of come in and help them from start to finish, really put it together, right?
That is true, and there really are very few people that offer that type of total line
Yeah,
responsibility anymore.
exactly.
So companies like Ronatec can actually start at the very beginning from building the equipment and moving all the
Hmm.
way through to uh, supplying the chemistries and all the way to wastewater treatment. So you have a
Right.
one-stop shop from A to Z. So you want to start a shop, you want to retrofit a shop, we can do it all from the very beginning to clean water at the very end.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I've see some of the pictures Jim's putting out. I know you guys seems like you're very busy working with some lines, and it looks like you got a lot of projects that you're really working on right at this moment, right? Of getting ready to turn those on and christen those lines.
The equipment side, the entire company, even though this year has been a little bit slower for most people, it's been an excellent year for us. The equipment side has gone gangbusters, and the chemical side has grown by leaps and bounds. We are um, actually at a point of one of those good bad points that we are trying to determine how to handle the increased growth on the chemical side.
Right. Right. Yeah. Like I said, you're in Texas. I know headquarters is in California. I know you guys have an operation on the East Coast. Like I said, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that really Ronatec was that spread out, but that's that's pretty much how business is being run these days, right? Wherever people are willing to, if you're on the one side of the coast or in the middle of the country, they're willing to work with you if they know that you can really help them and you've got that expertise that you can bring to them.
That's very true. From the old days when I first got in the industry, everything was very localized, and you work with a vendor out of a specific city, and they had 4 or 5 people that covered that specific city. Well, now, as global trade and various things have changed through the industry, now distance does not seem to make that much of an issue. It is now what you can do for the end user and how inexpensively you can do it and how well you can service that. So, and with things like the internet, obviously, and conference calling, video calling, the world has shrunk a lot.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I guess you're finding people are willing to pay for that expertise because it does make things go quicker, probably, the wait time's a little bit less with that, but really to get to pay for that knowledge, pay for that expertise, pay for your expertise, right? You're 40 some years in the business and things like that. And the
Well,
other people that you've got.
used to the old days, it used to be how cheap was it, how fast can you get it to me. Nowadays, it's more we're looking for someone that knows what they're doing that can guide us along the path to get to the final end that we're looking at. And so the tech service part of it has become probably more important than it ever has.
Right.
And much to my surprise, really, I would have thought it would go the other way around, but
Right.
it's still has become even more of a major issue. It's something that we, as a somewhat smaller company than the big three, uh, that's what we specialize in. We
Right.
specialize in dealing with solving those very unique manufacturing